Hello everyone, hello. I'm belated. I had some technical issues. I hope you can hear me all. I did a test run and it should all run. Hi everyone, how are you all doing? The first day live from a bit the outskirts of Amsterdam. I will not disclose where, but I'm very near to Amsterdam. Hello everyone. It's Thursday evening and I see the camera is a bit... wait. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome. I had a bit trouble with, well, I'd hoped to go live with Rumble and also another Facebook page which I could go live on, and it did not work out, so maybe next time. Welcome everyone. How are you all doing? Let me see. I will have to do one thing. I hope the chat works. At least here I should be live on Twitch, on YouTube and on Facebook, and next time I hope to go live on other business pages. Hello Thea, welcome. Welcome. I will wait a bit until more people enter in the chat, and of course are watching. Hello everyone. Hi Dilvertje, Viva Voice, Viva Voice. I all the time want to say it in Italian. Hi Viva Voice. Viva Voice. I love it in Italian. Welcome everyone. Well, oh man, what a day. I was already earlier live and I did that in Dutch, and I had a bumpy start to set up the live stream, so I'm now already tired of setting up the live stream. Anyway, I will I know once I am going live and talking with you all, then I am back again and in the energetic flow to talk about what I wanted to talk about. And I did make my thread for tonight as well. That's my my new way of doing live streams, that I have at least that I do all the subjects, because I noticed looking back at earlier live streams that I sometimes forgot a subject, and while I was very spontaneous, but forgot a subject. And I see now the streamer up. Also, I wanted to change that, did not have the time for that, so I will change it again. Wait, where is it? Hi Yvonne, the sound is a bit hollow. Oh, thank you so much for that feedback. I will check if other... wait. I will check, because I am not satisfied about the sound lately, so thank you for the feedback. Satisfied about the sound lately, so thank you for the well, it sounds well here. So maybe somebody else can respond in the chat. How is my sound? Is my sound okay? Hello Susan Mo. Yeah, wow, thank you so much for being here. And in last live stream I asked everybody from where they were coming, and I later on just oversee sometimes. Those are blind spots. When I go live, then I try to follow what's in the chat. And then the most of you did respond to that, and I did not respond to that. So again, thank you so much for mentioning where you're coming from. And hello Tess, good evening everyone. Yeah, as the title says, and this is where I start with, and again, is the sound well enough? Because I have here my tulip, which is wooden, so maybe I should put that away from the mic. Wait. I love these tiny accents, and I always love to do a bit of decoration in my live streams. But maybe this one is a bit also disturbing the sound, distorting the sound, but I will try and fix it. Oh, here we go again. People who know me from live streams, there is always something which does not run and or does not flow in a live stream. Is there one live stream when something goes wrong? So, but yeah. Okay, now it's fixed. So, Viva Voice says, the clocks went forward at the end of March here in the UK. It's just after 8 p.m. here, so I am glad I set up a notification. Don't worry about it, just glad you're here. The sound is perfect for me. Alrighty, well that's good, and I also hear that from Thea, and lots of people from the Netherlands are also joining. Thank you so much. And if you comment in Dutch or German, I can read German. I can also read a bit French. So don't hesitate to make a comment, or if you like to ask me something, please ask. And if I don't respond to a question you really like to have an answer to, then repeat that question, or with a capital Q. Then I see that in the chat when I scroll, because I do a bit everything, like moderating, checking my several multi-stream channels, so it's a lot to deal with. And then I just oversee some of your comments, which is not my intention, but okay, is it this one? I have to check that streamer, wait. Because I am live now. Overlay live stream. Yeah, I got it. One moment please, and then no, because it's not accurate what it says. Oh, meine Güte. Sorry for that. I have to change that first. Okay, got it. Okay. So, haha, that's changed. Then I can let go. Another welcome to everyone, also the ones who just came and entered the live stream. Welcome everyone. Tess says, you asked last time if you want to hear more stories about Michael. I would love to hear more. Yes, I'm planning on a live stream for him specifically, to honor him. And yeah, I'm very happy to do that, and also specifically to honor him. So that is the main goal. And yeah, I hope to do that very soon. Maybe next week, maybe next Thursday. It also depends on my whole inner process, because maybe that's a good bridge to... I always start with, actually my live streams started also as that I felt I need to tell my story. And I started with 0 to maybe 1, 2 viewers, and it lasted for a while, since I actually did an interview on TFOP and in the Vini. Since then I started to get more people who noticed me and wanted to join me. So I'm already quite for some years live, but then I was out of the social life for a couple of years and also on my social media. So I am now again very, very enthusiastically starting live streaming weekly. And I hope I do materialize it daily in my meditations and in the godly mission, as I always do, that I hope to materialize at least a tiny little studio where I can live stream whenever I want. Because I feel like I like to talk about my deprogramming and about how I'm doing. Hello Jen7! Thank you for being here. And you all are so wonderful people. And also the friends also from Nederlands who I started with when I started live streaming. You know I love you and I honor you. And that you're still here after these years, and I've actually now for more than a year absent from the platforms a bit, now active again. And Delwetje sends a beautiful angel. So again, let me start with what I wanted to talk about, is that I have a very, and I wish I didn't have to say that. The title says it all. Will I ever be whole again? Is there an end of my deprogramming? Well, tonight and in earlier live streams, I truly felt at that moment, yeah, I'm now so whole. I'm now so whole. Nothing can surprise me any longer, not really from deep within, because I have my core. To my utmost surprise, and it was only yesterday, I found out that I had still a core left which was not integrated. There is actually some weeks already heading for that I felt already I have a young behavior. My dear friend here who gives me shelter since 2008 and 2010 under her roof. That's quite long, I know, and it's very tough, such a long time deprogramming and being dependent on someone, and not someone, just someone, because I don't disclose her details and who she is and where I live, because she wants to stay hidden and secret and just do her life, her daily life, and she just doesn't want to be in the picture. But it's a long time, and this is also why I lost many people, at least here in the Dutch life, and hardly saw. Yeah, I have a very secluded life for years now. So I was this week specifically very surprised and totally, I'm still irritated, and this morning I was emotional because a core split came forward, and yesterday was only revealed to me by my inner alters or personalities. And that started with, as I said earlier, in that young behavior. And my dear friend here, she's very honest to me. She knows me inside out. She knows how I am. And she felt that my behavior was a bit younger. And that was specifically in that I was in over details mentioning, yeah, it's hard to explain, but a good example is that she provides for me the groceries for years now. And I, for years, don't dare to ask any groceries. And it's still going on that I have a hard time with it. And since I do the dog and cat sitting, I could manage to get treatment for my teeth, which was also very important because I lost teeth because of the eating disorders, and the whole teeth protection, the natural teeth protection was collapsed. So my teeth were crooked and I lost some teeth. Well, I did some live streams already a couple of years ago. That was very, very so awful, and I had such a regret of all these eating disorders. But that was already a journey on its own. But she provides me of groceries. But since I do the dog and cat sitting, I could manage to deal with that. I could also do work for my treatment of the teeth. And I'm very happy with it because I can smile fully, and I'm so happy with it and with my dentist. And I could last couple of months again also provide me with my own groceries and have some extra for a live stream, like the lamp you see behind, that vertical lamp. I felt it's so nice to have a little light at the background, that kind of things, very tiny things. And then she noticed that last couple of weeks it was worse. It was only worse. And that she said, where's the list? And it got later and later in the week. Every week it got later because she was used to that. I would send her a few groceries which I needed for that week. And of course it was a very tiny list because I was scared of even mentioning a grocery item like milk, orange juice or something else. What you eat in a week. And I don't eat that much in a week, not even, but everything was too much. And then it got worse, and then it got Tuesday, then she got the list. And then last 2 weeks it was on Wednesday, like, hello Elizabeth, can you send me a list of groceries? Then I will get them for you, or at least get them for you at the supermarket where she was near at the time. And then, this week it exploded. Zacharias Tennen, hello, welcome. Yvonne, heb ik jou al welkom geheten? Delvertje, I already said welcome. Delvertje says maybe MKultra is deprogramming is like an incurable disease, but I hope it isn't. Yeah, that's a good thing what you say there, Delvertje, because I was wondering, but how do other survivors of MKultra this? How do they do this? Then I find it such more and more a miracle that they have their core retrieved and have the full memories totally there. I know also a lot of survivors who have far deprogrammed also did not get there, but a lot of them are. So if anyone can answer that question, or maybe from own experience, and I have tears in my eyes because just before I went live, I was upstairs to get some things, and I know, because I'm also a healer, and with my qualities I was used in MKultra, I am very, very skilled in healing and reading and energy work. So my dear friend, also we are in a balance. That's also what she says every time. But just before I went live upstairs, again we talked about how that group of tiny little alters, of which I will go into depth with the carousel programming, which is connected to that. And then I felt almost in a resistance, like, I am that grown up. I am Elizabeth of 50 plus years, and in the outside world you will never ever notice that. But in the private world and in my own private movement, I noticed it lately, that I was insecure. I lose things in the house which I put somewhere else and I forgot about it. I did not know where I put it, and then later on, I also, thanks to my clairvoyancy, that's really true, I could re-find things, and it's just horrific to go again through that layer, and it feels, and I think many MKultras will recognize that, it feels like a loop. So every time I come back, I feel better, then I think I'm there, and then suddenly something happens, or I'm confronted with behavior inside of me, which I know that's my former MKultra remains, and then I feel like I am going in a loop and I'm not growing, or I'm not really integrating, which I know is not the case, because if I look back on years ago, I did change for the positive, I hope. I'm a far happier person, and also inner love and love to others. Last live stream there was a good question of someone who asked me about forgiveness, and then I was not clear because I re-listened and re-watched a bit of the live stream because I wanted to check the sound, which I'm still not satisfied about. And that I remembered, hey, but I did not mention that that was very deep, only recent, that I could forgive myself. And I asked also, yeah, even Michael, to forgive me for and all the victims. I also, it was forced in my programming, but the victims with my black ops and with my assassin ops, and that I asked for forgiveness. And so that was very, very, very deep. Yeah, to come back to that insecurity and with the grocery list, and we had upstairs our conversation about it, and that she also shared, like, yeah, it's for me so hard, so incredibly hard to see you like this. And maybe it's a sign that I'm at the end of the road of the deprogramming. I hope so. But it's really tough to be confronted again with another loop, another cycle of being confronted with, again, a deeper programmed layer, and it's my root layer, I know that. What I mean with core, a core split is for the people who are not so into MKultra. Other people might already know this from earlier live streams and from maybe their own experience. But a core is the source of my being, and the core is the being who has all the memories, is whole. And this core has to be destroyed and has to be so heavily traumatized, from, in my case, from baby on, because I came from two bloodlines. One is that I'm the daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, and the other one from a certain father, which I'm sure it will be revealed in the future, also with the documents. I know that will happen. I hope that will as soon as possible happen. But yeah, I can do so much more when there's proof in the world, because that's where I stumble over already for years. I seek for proof of my existence, and you might think that's too stubborn, that there are maybe other important things to focus on, but I feel what will happen if my identity is being proven, that I am part of the experiment of Queen Elizabeth, and because also of Joseph Mengele or Dr. Green, another alias of him, and all the former programmers of me. What would that happen to the world and to the consciousness growth of other beings, and also for other victims and survivors? There should be a way that it will be proven, and I will keep on mentioning it in the live streams. I know I repeat that almost in every live stream, but it says enough about how deep I am connected to that truth, and my mission next to that all beings should be free, and the earth should be the beautiful earth, like it's supposed to be in the best ever timeline for everyone. And I love the word goodness for everyone, goodness for all, the greater good. I also love that word, the greater good. Tess asks, do you know Vanessa Emery? She claims to be the real heir of Queen Elizabeth, but was switched as a child and trafficked. Isn't her story quite similar to yours? No, I never heard of her. And this is also what makes me maybe unique from other victims or survivors. I keep away from, I can almost say I never watch anyone else. from MKultra, because I never wanted to be polluted with my own memories, and I didn't want to get triggered by it, and that I could get false memories or being influenced by that. But no, I will look her up. By the way, there are other children also from a certain king in England. I know that it also exists, also children of him. So I know that there are I can say there are more children born from that genetic order, but I came from 2 hidden bloodlines, and yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for mentioning it, Tess, and I'm always open for investigating. And yeah, did she manage to get the documents to be publicized? Because I know that my mom, Queen Elizabeth, has the documents in her private secretary, and so I know where it's put. I know exactly the place. If I would be at Buckingham Palace, I would straight walk to her private room, and where she would write things, and had contact with her secretary, her private secretary, and also her special secretary, which was, yeah, do I say that well? That a secretary, that's another word for a table, where she could write, where she had wrote letters and so on, and had a private stuff, and she could close it off with her. She only had the one key in possession. But yeah, I'm very curious about this Vanessa Emery. So thank you for mentioning. And yeah, does she also resemble her? Because that's also interesting. I find the resemblances of the genetic resemblances, but very interesting. So to come back to the core has been split in me, not in two, what the majority of MKultras at least in my time, from 60s to 70s, and my programming was also still done also with going through traumas physically. So in my front life, in my Dutch front life, with my fake Dutch family, and with my programmers abroad, and it was in England and the US, and I went a lot of times through the underground tunnels, which is proven that they are there, and a lot, of course, child trafficking through these tunnels as well, which a lot has been surfacing and still surfacing, and has been surfaced and still surfacing to this very day. So I believe that this year more will disclose. I truly feel also about England and the British royalty, and my passion is for all beings, and just, yeah, like I mentioned last live stream, I'm even more into that, like God's kingdom, the source, unconditional love, the non-duality, the quantum field, doesn't matter. It's the goodness for yourself and for all, for the greater good, for all beings. That was always, as a child, already my mission and passion, and it's always the number one. But yeah, that core split was, in my case, not done in 2 core splits, but in 4. And the connection to a carousel is a strongly, specifically in my case, with my type of MKultra, as I said, with the traumas being physically done, also with electroshocks, which is of course very physically, but that, as well as my Dutch front family, as well as my programmers, which were 4. That was Joseph Mengele, that was my original dad, that evil man, but also not evil, which I can do also a whole live stream about, because I also love him, and it's very complex. I know that's also with trauma, if you are abused by your abuser, but also loved by your abuser, and it's also your dad. Very, very hard. Very hard. And a female programmer, and the other programmer I had to call White Rabbit, which was a couple of times vice president of US presidents. Maybe you have then a clue, but I had to call him White Rabbit. And about him also other victims, by the way, came forward that they knew him, and that also counts for many of the presidents, US presidents. I was also trafficked and used as presidential slave worldwide. I was also in Russia. I was in everywhere. Yemen, Afghanistan, everywhere. Africa, Italy, Rome, Rome, and then the Vatican. That's a bit of summary. US, of course. South America was a lot. Argentina, everywhere. Greenland was also there. I think in Europe, of course, I was trafficked and used for all sorts of things in my programming. To come back to this core, so with that incredible trauma done as a baby, and that has to be repeated, but the love bonding is also very important. So, like with my dad, that I still have precious memories, that he kept me on his lap and in front of the fireplace, and he read to me books, and it was the cat with the cat with the hat. The cat with the hat. I see the cover of that book, but the cat with the hat. Yeah, it was, and there was something like a title with "I don't like green eggs and ham" or something. It's a long time ago that I did a live stream about that as well. That was heavily traumatized later on as well, because I never could read that storybook again. But he was then on that lap when he was reading to me, also very loving and love bonding is very important, because if you first bond with love and then destroy the love and then put in between a wall of amnesia in between, also through electroshocks and heavy traumas, then you create a core split, and that needs to be done as early as possible in life. So rather as baby till a toddler, if you're older than 5-6 years and they start to then split the core, that's almost most undoable, or it will not be as strong and fixed as with as little as possible, as in my case. And I was even traumatized in the womb of my surrogate mother. So I had a carrying mother, and that's a very complex story, because that's a whole other story. I will not dive into that. But the core, to come back to that of this week. So I had 4 core splits. The carousel is a very important used programming in the past by MKultra, and also other MKultras I know of had this programming. Well, the carousel with these horses, you have other carousels for sure with carnivals here in the Netherlands, that you have carousels with also other things like horses, but I was traumatized with carousels which had a turning with the horses and then the mirrors. And the center of the carousel, I did not have time enough to look it up. I wanted to look it up because I was total chaos today. So I apologize for not having looked it up, but the core of the carousel was done in mirrors. And these mirrors represented also in me a child altar. And I had five child altars which were connected to this core and carousel programming, which I dug up only yesterday. And each mirror was represented by a child altar of 5-6 years old. And I remembered that I was in the love bonding with my original dad, he's also very famous, but maybe again I will one day public his name. I did mention it once in a while in some live streams, but I choose not to mention him any longer, because my story is already complex enough, and if I then also use his name, yeah, where is then, I mean, you know, the most of you know that I had a secret relationship with Michael Jackson and that he helped me deprogram. He was so aware of what was happening. That is, maybe you now understand why he was so targeted, even after his death. For me, he's alive. People who know what I mean with that, you know what I mean. And yeah, you know, how this already is so complex. So I will go back to the red thread. So that carousel with these 5 child altars, and that was ideal because the number 5 is also of the pentagram, the 5-pointed pentagram, which was used, of course, upside down also with the satanic rituals, which I was also forced to do, and then a lot of them, also giant rituals, as well in the Nevada desert, for example, with the what was called to me as the 300 plus. The 300 plus people of the elite of the world, and there were mass rituals, and I was in the center of that ritual, and around me, and I'm not kidding, were hundreds of slaves or traumatized children, also eunuch teenager boys were just around me, burned on crosses, and that was not an hallucination, that was real. And that created a portal for the demon of the upper demon, the god demon or Baal. And I met him in materialized shape as well in these rituals. And that was the sacrifice of all these, mainly boys and older teenagers. And every time, the most of the times they were eunuchs. So I never heard someone else talk about it, survivors. I love to hear if someone else maybe has memories of that, but that was a very, very important thing for my programmers and the satanic world where I was in, and with also the kind of Nazi world, neo-Nazism, that they wanted these boys to have, well, as eunuchs. Well, people know who eunuchs are. I don't have to go into detail about that. I will check the chat on Twitch. Delvetje says his spirit never left Earth. It's in his music too, and she means of course Michael. Yes, and the movie comes out, and Jane, I seem to remember Jane did a comment previous week about that a movie will be released in the Netherlands. It will be released in April. About and the title is Michael, and of course I support everything, every project about him, what gives an honest, yeah, from a loving source which knew him, and I think Prince was is involved, but I did not. And I watched a bit of the live stream of last week, and then I felt like it's like I'm negative about everything about Michael, but of course I'm very proud of that Prince is involved, and everything positive about Michael is of course I support. But it was just my pain, my own pain of being absent in the. Yeah, that's of course also interesting. Why is it so important for me to be heard in that, or be seen in that? And I know what it is from within, because it is the thought of when I physically die, I hope I will still live for years and in health. That the thought of then not lying next to him, where he is, well, where he will be. Yeah, I cannot live with that. That's very awkward. It's very strange, because what is an earthly life? You know, there is so much more than only Earth. But apparently, it's very important to me. So now I've said it. Yvonne says, yes, White Rabbit died November 3rd, 2025. Very interesting, because, or I think I wiped it out. I somehow knew, but I wiped it out in my memory, and because he was my one of my main programmers, and oh man, I had so many flashbacks with him, and also with my dad and mom, of course, but with him, oh my God, it's really. But yeah, it's good that you mention it, Yvonne, because now can update it again innerly, and put it in my mind again. To go back to the score and the split. So mine were split in 4, and these 4 core splits are hidden by the programmers, by these 4 programmers I had. Not every MKultra has 4 programmers. The majority have 2 programmers, a male and a female, so a mother and a father, because it needs to represent the male and the female. And the mother needs to traumatize the child, and the father needs to traumatize the child, because then it would evolve and create personalities who respond to the female energy and to the male energy. And of course I had to have many split up personalities who were involved with the black ops, and not only on Earth, but there was also a lot off planet and used for that. But the female personalities were used in the enslavement and the satanic rituals. I had so many alters of personalities. If I tell you all the real number of all the personalities, I sometimes say they were in the tens of thousands, but they were far, and really far more than in the tens and 100,000s. And that sounds bizarre, but it was. Because if you imagine that, for example, a personality is created and did a trauma, and then it was sealed off with electroshocks afterwards, and then I went to the light and bright room, which was the recovery room with white nuns, and I always got warm milk, nice warm milk with honey and some herbs, and I was lying in a beautiful, nice bed, all white sheets, everything was white, and I always felt the same curtains, like a draft, a mild draft, and these nuns were singing, stroking my forehead. Sometimes I got a kiss on my forehead, sometimes a programmer or a US president or one of the royal families entered the room, and then they gave a kiss on my forehead together with the other trigger codes, which could be a gesture, could be how do you call that for a baby? Like you can, there's a sound in it. You can hold it, and it's a bit like a maracas, but specifically for babies. And then would then make a sound with it. That's an example. And White Rabbit used his. Why don't I know that name? Not where you can create fire. It's interesting. I always forget that word, like a lighter, and that was his basic gesture of like that I would change it into personalities. So these core splits were then in 4, and they were hidden. Each of these 4 were hidden in a carousel. In all these years, but very important, these core splits are hidden underneath the pile of all these personalities, which of course when I grow older and older, and I'm still in the programming, because I was only coming out of the programming for real from 2006 maybe. It started in 2000, and of course Michael worked already on it as best as he could. But that for years of personalities, layers, like an onion, and that onion got bigger. Well, if you then start to dive and peel off each layer, it's years of work. And the majority of MKultras, it's sad to say, they never get to the real core and to these basic core splits. But there are false core splits. And they are hidden in false carousels, which happened in my case as well. Ariel, hello Ariel. She says, hello Miss Elizabeth, I am so happy to see you on here. I wish I wasn't at work so I could watch. Just wanted to stop by and say hello and send you love. Nah, thank you so much Ariel. And well, you know it, you can always rewatch it. Oh, I apologize for the... I will put it off. Wait. I will put off my phone, the ringtone. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Well, it's interesting, but that's for later. I will not mention that now. To come back, so these fake carousels were also put to when I would dig in that giant onion, and I was, let's say 2006, well 2000 I was in 29 or 30 years old, and Michael already did some deprogramming, which I did not know of at the time, because my Dutch front personality was so big, so giant, that I only remembered Michael. Looking back, I did remember him, but other personalities then closed off again the memories. And even in my Dutch life, I knew from my past that at times I had flashes of that I remember Michael. It's very complex. But that these layers just were then putting the layers on the onion again, and specifically the Dutch front layers, and then I did my music passion, already new personalities, and then only in 2009 when Michael passed, and that was part of the whole setup as well, that his passing triggered me so deeply that I remembered so much about him from 2009. And I'm forever grateful for his being, that he did that. Maybe for some who watched the movie of Michael, this is it. That you see a scene of which he turns to the camera and he says, I love you. That entered me deeply. And that's only one example of how he also tried to reach me and give messages to me. And maybe I will do a live stream about that, but it's again, I bump again into the whole, he is not here in person, and should I do the story about what I really know about this incredible plan and God's plan, I also believe, because Michael was as well in the goodness for all, and that it is about freeing all beings, and like Jesus, but with a lot of respect for beings who can't, but for the greater good and for the right best ever timeline for everyone, and that all children should be free and have a shelter and a nice, warm, balanced family. There's never a perfect family, but a balanced family and the values, and it doesn't matter a man, woman, as father, mother, no, I don't care. 2 women, 2 men, doesn't matter. It should be a real, good, filled with love, balanced family values, of which they can grow up, and in safety, of course. Tess asks, is there anywhere we can hear your music, and did you create music with Michael? Oh, that's a sweet question. Well, on my YouTube channel I have a video of which I show my mandala and also honoring him, Michael, and I sing there for the first time with a musical which I sung, which I created together with another friend in the Dutch life, but I have that musical on a VHS tape, and I still have to digitalize it. Gosh, these words in English. And I did write some songs, yes. And I also have memories that he also wrote songs. And he was playing his good guitar. Did you know he played guitar? Actually very well. And then he was singing some lyrics, and I remember the songs of the duet. I just can't stop loving you. Very dear song, Heal the World. Yeah, it's very, very, very dear to me. But yeah. But I did not create music with Michael because he's a genius. I know I can play okay piano, and if I'm in the good vibration, then I can even still play with feeling. But yeah, I started too late with playing the piano. I did church organ before that, and I started too late, and the whole programming took care of it, that I would lose my piano skills. But yeah, but he was the genius in the music way, and also very blessed with that. And he was a genius in so many things. So, but yeah. Hi Alice, welcome. And also, dear people on Facebook, I hope to go live on my business page and another page, which I'm so grateful for, that I can also go live on, and it did not work out as well as not with Rumble. So something I need to dive into again with the technical issues in that. But I am live on my Facebook page. Welcome there as well, and YouTube and Twitch. So Delveltje says MJ was an incredible talent. Yes, and Elizabeth Taylor mentioned once there was never a star like him who incarnated on this earth, and I truly feel that as well. And this is also why he got so attacked. He was ahead of his time, and I believe one of the real, and maybe I should not say that, but about the masters of music and lyrics of all time, of the whole time of the earth almost. But yeah, I am. It's not judging about other musicians. So I have a lot of. I love music. I love also the present. But I think I see too much the. Yeah, there are so many talented people, so it's not to judge, you know. But I'm a bit influenced, of course, because having known Michael, so it was amazing, and also how he deprogrammed me. Also connected to This Is It. I wish I could get a sign of that I could talk about that to honor him, you know, and yeah, and then still the proof. Where's the proof? Well, I have these memories. One example I can give, when he was rehearsing for This Is It, and that we danced on Charles Aznavour and Love Song, and there is in the lyrics "Love You More," I will love you more, and we danced, and we shuffled, and we danced, because I knew I would not see him for a long time in the physical, and it was a giant screen, because they only of recent had a giant screen. We're experimenting with that, giant LED screen or something, and we were behind it dancing on that song, very intimate, and that's a very dear memory to me. There's a lot more to say about This Is It. And This Is It, if you turn it around, it is also This Is It. Huh? And about it. Yeah, you have a horror movie about it, but it is also like the connection to Carl Gustav Jung, which is one of my favorite. Yeah, one of the philosophic people who changed my life already in the Dutch life, by the way. Because when I was not aware of any sexual abuse, SA or MKultra. So, and then thanks to Carl Jung, I was heavy into I Ching, which gave me a lot of insights about my inner world, and I think maybe that triggered my inner deprogramming layers. And Michael, of course, tried to reach my deeper deprogramming layers. And thanks to him, I did not bump into that my self-harm layers would take over. That's only one example, of course. And what is love? Huh? Love is the most important thing. Love is the answer. And there's a short snippet song which came from him, and I will never forget that I played that every night in the deprogramming, every single night. And then because I still have it, a silk black cloth, and I had a tiny little Buddha, a wooden Buddha. I still have it. And when I met him, when I was still in the programming, but he tried to reach me, of course, with his love, and tried to go into my heart with his love. And I had a lot of times that black silk cloth with me, and the tiny little Buddha. And yeah, that is very precious to me. But later on, I then realized, oh, he did that as well to help me remember him. And by the way, it's very interesting because Paris on her Instagram, when I was following the children, by the way, on daily basis, I never really approached them because they have to approach me from their own will. It's free will, and it's a very complex situation. But I knew them, of course, from baby on, and all of them. So, but that Paris on Instagram, very, very interesting, one of the many synchronicities that she showed when she was already more independent and living her life, and that was years after that Michael was of the public world, and that she then in her car showed on Instagram video tiny little Buddha, and on the front of the car where she was driving, So, and that she mentioned something about that her little Buddha always went with her, and in that way I could go on with the deprogramming, because the flashbacks at that time were so heavy that I could not cope. And I believe that or God or synchronicity, or that I was somehow into the right timeline at that moment, that she helped me she helped me deprogram as well, specifically Paris. Yeah, I'm so proud of all three of them. And now I'm talking about Michael, and I was supposed to talk about what I planned, about these core splits, what I bumped into, but I love talking about him. Yeah, let me know, or later on in the comments, if you indeed love to hear more about it or know more about it. So I will go back to what I was talking about with these carousels and these horses. The horses on the carousel, they were also very high symbolic in the MKultra, because horses is a heavily used MKultra method as well. I was taught to ride horses, and I loved it. I also was with Michael riding horses, and in a ranch with a certain president, starting with a CL, the surname, and there I was also on the ranch, also riding horses. But it's a very important, the horse is a very important symbolism, an animal, to rise to the black matter, what was told to me, and also to go to another state of trance. And it was also used for my black ops and to travel to other dimensions. But I was also physically, literally on other planets. And it's very complex, I know, because I was, with my energy body, I was on other planets and the moon, and I was as well also physically there. And I had some black ops as well there. So horses were used for that, to ride a horse, So then, for example, a part of the sentence was, you will ride now the horse, the purple horse, or you will ride now the orange horse. And there was also the unicorn horse, and it was also used in a cartoon about ponies. I forgot the name of the ponies, but yeah, a lot of cartoons were used in programming, like also Dora. Thomas the Train was used in my programming. Teletubbies was used in my programming. There was an American television series, maybe some of you know, of my age, so you have to be older than 50. That was the Gummy. Yeah, it was an animation which were like clay puppets, and I always felt awful with it. And Baba Papa was also used for that. Maya the bee, the bee was also used in my programming. But the horses, specifically the carousel, you have to go back to the carousel. The carousel trauma which came forward yesterday was so out of the blue by these 5 child alters who were connected to that typical carousel, who came most recent forward, like yesterday only. And as I said earlier, they were part of the pentagram, and that's also a very important symbol, as many of you know. Yvonne says, My Little Pony. Yeah, My Little Pony. Yeah, exactly. And if I seem to remember well, there you have pony with all kinds of colors. And also one, and they ride the rainbow. Well, riding the rainbow is also going to the trance atmospheres of other personality layers. I can talk all live streams about all the inner worlds of mine, of me, of mine. Hello Nobby, good evening, welcome on YouTube. Everyone again, welcome who just joins in. You can of course later on rewatch, because I think it's very interesting, the subject today. So, the horse. And I also had a golden horse, by the way, and a black horse. The golden horse was put in my brainstem. The brainstem, that's the edge of the skull, is a very important portal for, sadly, also for the electroshocks, but also to seal personalities and to to get there, also the brainstem and the nerve system, etc., also in the programming, and to create new personalities next to the temples. Lots of other spots as well. I was also heavily traumatized on my kidney areas, and I also had last couple of weeks again lower back problems, and that it was a stabbing, like when I would stand up from my couch, that I would feel stabbing from my kidneys. And that's because I got there traumatized with a kettle pot. To come back, there was a little fly. Yeah, tiny little fly, okay. And so, that core trauma with that carousel, the basic trauma came also forward after these 5 child alters, which were 5, 6 years old. I don't know if I dare to... Hello Lily, by the way, on Facebook. Hello everyone. Welcome on Facebook. So the trauma, and should I tell or should I not tell the details? Let me know in the chat room. Is it okay that I tell the gruesome details? Because I love to also have a certain balance in the live stream, that I don't chase people away with mentioning the details of the trauma, because it is already a quite tough subject, MKultra, although it's more everywhere. So, and also main channels on YouTube also use the word MKultras. And what I then find, what I come by, is then that they talk about MKultra and then they invite an expert, but then I think, like, why don't you invite someone, a survivor? It doesn't have to be me, but why don't you invite a survivor who talks about it? Now I find that very interesting. Tess says, yes, tell please. Okay, so I will do trigger warning. this is a graphic warning for everyone who's very vulnerable. And if you're having MKultra or heavy traumas and you're vulnerable or mentally not in a good place right now, then please pause the video and skip a bit, or watch it with a loved one, because it's really for me even gruesome detail. But the carousel in my other basic carousels with my basic programmer White Rabbit and my other programmer, sometimes also the others, that there were babies hung on the carousel and they were skinned. And before they were hung to the carousel, I often was part in that skinning as well. So I had to skin a lot of bodies, and specifically children and toddlers of my age. And many variations on the trauma. And this specific carousel, I had the feeling like, how can there ever be another gruesome variation? But was that a kind of bungee cord, and that babies were then with an elastic were then pulled, and then they were squashed against the carousel. And before that, the carousel was then with a speed being like a turbo speed being turned around, so that also all these bodies were swinging. And that was a basic trauma, and I can tell it very without going into tears. That's what I never know. Maybe, and I think other survivors also will recognize. I guess sometimes I can cry, and sometimes I just can tell these details as if I'm. And it sounds harsh. It sounds without feeling, but at this moment, I don't feel the feeling with it. But yesterday I was so flabbergasted, but also grateful that I found out about this typical carousel program. But what was for me the hardest to deal with was that I am still not whole. And my dear friend here knows that I mentioned it also yesterday to her, but because I said, like, although I feel happier than ever, I feel the support of God, I feel the support of beings, I feel I'm doing well, I'm doing very well, but do I have like my full memories do I feel them as complete? I cannot explain that, but I asked it also my dear friend sometimes, like, what is it for you, how is it for you to have your memories from the past? And then she says, well, I also don't remember all details any longer, but your brain is different. But yeah, I do remember things and how I grew up as a chronological line. And I still, with the whole programmed life, it goes in phases that I feel that it's true, and I know it's true, so that feeling is never gone, because I went through all the flashbacks, the physical flashbacks. I know it is true, and I know what I talk about is true. I know who I am. I know I am the daughter of Queen Elizabeth II. You know, that's a knowing from him, but to feel it as whole, that my whole being is here, I still crave for that moment, that what other MKultra survivors do describe, like that the whole core is then suddenly freed. So I hope now with this one of yesterday that I am now have a moment of, yes, I can feel my whole me. I cannot explain it. I love to hear, or later on in the comments, if someone recognize it, or for the people who have a so-called normal life, what is a normal life, but without that too much traumas that you remember at least to your whole life. How is that? I would love to know. Do you have your memories complete? or do memories distort, or gaan? And I would love to hear that, your thoughts on it, and your feelings on that, or how you respond on that, or people who are now trying to recover from the traumas, how you're doing that, or do you feel whole? Do you know you are whole? And I mentioned in earlier live streams, I pretty often that, yeah, I'm whole now. So, and I'm not, but maybe I will never be, or can someone be ever whole? Yeah, and now I rediscovered the quantum field, which was for me always a non-duality, which was scrambled up by the programming, and which I did a lot of black ops, and also the bridge to the AI, my AI experience, because I love to talk about it as well, and that's a bit in a more relaxed way, because this is quite extreme and quite heavy subject. And to also round off that subject of the core, I went this morning live because I did not know any longer how to cope with that insight of, okay, now I have 5 child alters, and they were calling around me, because that happened also this morning, because they're still integrating, so I still need to innerly guide them, these 5, and that they were again screaming to me. They surrounded me, and they screamed that Dutch nursery rhyme I sang in last live stream about the big bells and the smaller bells, and then the watches, who then sang bing bim bam and tick-a-tack-a tick-a-tack-a tick. What I forgot to mention was that carousel exploded in my inner world, in that core hidden until yesterday, hidden core part, with an inner bomb. So in my programming, it's a sidetrack, but it does belong to my program, and my basic programming was in sections, done in sections, and also Joseph Mengele had these sections. And the middle section was number 7. And 7 is an important programming number, and so my first section and my 7th and my last was also very important. The pillars actually of my basic personality, and in between all these layers were put on these other numbers. And number 7 was already a carousel, which I uncovered years ago. But this one apparently was lying in the bottom of that number 7, in the middle, and in me was built in a kind of bomb or firecrackers, which would then go off when I would hit a certain layer, of which I was never supposed to free. So that with the black ops, with the identities of the presidents, for example the US presidents, a bomb was put around me, and it was of course not a physical bomb, let's be clear about that. It was an inner energetic bomb, and these bombs were connected to electroshocks, and also to an external defibrillator. And I was hooked to a pacemaker, an outside pacemaker. And later on, when Michael tried to deprogram me, he was taught by a physician that he should stop with deprogramming me, because otherwise the big bomb would go off in me, and that would be a giant heart attack. And I thought I also had a chain of inner bombs already, also, that I was past that. But that's the tricky thing about deprogramming, and this is why I never watch other MKultras. It's not that I don't want to, I can't. I cannot listen to other stories of survivors. Yeah, it's awful to say, but or maybe in a small amount, or I'd rather than talk to someone in person, or video call. That's doable. And then still I feel, and it's I don't know if others recognize that too, but it's also because I don't know if I'm already in my source? Am I free yet? And I don't want to trigger other people. Yeah, it's a very messy, complexity. So, and now I only mentioned a very tiny thing about my programming. Because the mirrors of the carousel also is a different programming on its own. The mirror programming. And the mirrors, I was programmed with watching myself in mirrors, but again, a trigger warning with graphic detail that I had to watch myself. And I thought I saw myself. Suppose I was 40 years old and my personality needed to be refreshed for the Black Ops, for my military Black Ops. Needed to be reprogrammed, not deprogrammed, but reprogrammed. Then I looked in the mirror to a lookalike of myself, but that lookalike was built, they had a wax face. And that wax face, that was melted. And then I was triggered because I thought that I was melting. And I still cannot watch burn victims. I still cannot watch anything about seeing a burned body. Because I watched, I don't think I ever disclosed that in live stream because I was heavily traumatized, not only with, again, trigger warning with necrophilia, but also necrophilia of a burned body. And then the object which was not being burned was the FALLUS of the body, of the male, and that was preserved because that was not burned. And I was forced to do that with that burned body. And I also, in my Black Ops, I was forced to burn down buildings. And these buildings had people in it. And because I can remote view and I'm so vulnerable also energetically, and as I said, I'm also healer, reader, used for my energetic skills. And also in the Black Ops, and that maybe people remember that, like, not only in the 9/11 in the US, but for example also in London there was a giant tower, I forgot that tower. There was not so many years ago that burned down with people in it, and I got flashes in it with a room, and families were crawled together in that Ranford Tower in London. I always felt something fishy with that, and I've seen it with my clairvoyancy, with my remote viewing, and that I saw at least 50 to 54 bodies. Children, the majority were women and children, and they were clung together, and they were all stuck in the corner of that room, hoping to find some shelter. And probably, I hoped they didn't suffer, but I saw these corpses with my inner eye. And that counts for a lot of more examples, which I never talk about. But burn victims, and I believe I was supposed to watch that on a certain moment, that it was the Grenfell Tower. Now I know that. Maybe the people in England know that. It was very fishy because they wanted to have that soil for building other. These people in it were not important enough. Oh, I was so angry. I was so angry and frustrated, but also again traumatized. So I never released that about how many times I was confronted with. Another example was that a circle of, and it was in the US, that it was in an environment of the movie. I believe it was in Hollywood, or where they filmed these westerns. And there I was in a group, and I was supposed to go to Bohemian Grove, and some of the elite, which were men, were standing around the circle in me. I feel already my body respond to it. And they were in their outfits of cowboy outfits and with the cowboy hats, fedoras, and they loved acting like a cowboys, and they were very already exhilarated and very well in a kind of state. And then a man was put in the middle, and the circle they took a bit more distance, and in the background there was an ambulance. By the way, there was always an ambulance present when I was used, or two bodyguards which were always there, men in black I call them, two men in black with black glasses, and they had pale looks. Yeah, but this is not a story, but I was then in that example of that group of men. And then suddenly the circle opened, and there was pushed a man who was lit to fire, and they pushed him over me, and I tried to get rid of him. And yeah, later on I must have had some clothing which was burned for against burning myself, and I was a very small child, and this is a. So I had many, this was only a few examples of how I was used with burning and my basic programming, and this will be the end of the graphic details. Yeah, I'm silent about it. I take a sip of my orange juice, and gosh, it always gets me when I talk about it. But yeah, it's... And I do talk about it at times with my dear friend as well. Like, should I talk about these gruesome details? Because I trigger myself as well. I feel my bodily reactions. And then she said, it is so important because I feel after you live stream, she said that also today, you are more here and now. You are more... I feel it does well to you that you talk about the past. But yeah, that's me. That's what I also experienced. Yvonne, thank you for looking it up. I saw it already coming by. 14th June 2017, Grenfell Tower. Yeah, in London. I'm sure people will remember that. From England, I mean. It was a huge thing then. Hoi Anja on Facebook. Welcome. Welcome on Facebook. And Yvonne says, talk about it will help. Yeah, it is healing. Because, yeah, I'm just physically alone very often. And I don't mind. Because I also cannot deal with too many people around me because of my past. But I'm so passionate about coming forward with who I am. Of course, on a certain level, I want to have a kind of closure with Michael. It is... I don't know any longer. I don't know any longer about that as well. How I supposed to continue with dealing with that as well. Should I never ever talk about him again? Should I just know from within that it's the truth, and just accept that this is my life now, and that I focus on getting my identity proven? But yeah. I will go into a bit more light-hearted subject like AI in the world, but I see it's now already 10:30. I think my live streams are again going to the 2 hour, which is my approximate time of being live, but I love it. I'm so grateful for the new subscribers and on Facebook, and for everyone who supports me, also the people who are not publicly known and want to be public with that, but I thank you so much for your support. Again, I really want to do a lecture. I love to go to the US. I love to do that in the Netherlands somewhere. A meet and greet, or greet and meet, meet and greet with you all. Or in America, combined with a meet and greet. I would love to do that. Oh man, I would love to do physically lecture. But yeah, that's maybe also my music past. I was a conductor, and I was a lot of on stage. So I love being on stage. And for the greater good, for inspiring people, and for telling my story and meeting you. Or how I would love to meet you. Also de Dutchies, ook iedereen in Nederland. Gewoon het groepje wat me al zo lang volgt. Maar ook de nieuwe vrienden, vriendinnen. Ik zou het zo geweldig vinden. So, okay, Delvertje, I will go to the chat. I did say already hi to Anja. Delvertje, so many songs where they sing about California dreaming. I find it very disturbing. Makes me think about Bohemian Grove and the Horse. Yeah, well, sadly enough, yeah, the California dreaming, yeah. I believe that was from the Bee Gees or the Beach Boys. Beach Boys, oh, that music was heavily used in my program. The lyrics, because that's the trick. The lyrics were used. The artists themselves, some of them were partially programmed or at least influenced, blackmailed, also sexual blackmailed. Sadly enough, I still see artists in the here and now, pop artists. That's a whole story on its own. I met famous pop artists and they abused me. Some even was very famous. An English pop artist who even wanted to marry me. I danced with him on Red Shoes. And he made a song title called Red Shoes and he had 2 different eyes. Now you know what I mean. Yeah. Don't say his name in the chat, but but yeah, I get the goosebumps of that. Viva Voice says, thank you for your compassion and courage. You are helping so many. Yeah, that's only if it's one victim, but also to inspire people in general who are not into believing this is true. And I know many other victims talk already. I mean, worldwide, it's getting more open, the MKultra subject. So, but I truly feel and believe that I have a certain mission in reaching. Yeah, I'm part of the beings, I guess, who were born to have some influence on my unique way. And waiting for my momentum, but I now daily say, this is my momentum, I am who I say I am. And that's the whole reconnection to the quantum field, to the non-duality, into God's kingdom. And I do feel happy, but I wish I had my core, my whole core in me and yeah, healed. Viva Voice says, yes, Grenfell was abominable. Abominable. Sorry for the pronunciation. Viva Voice says, talking helps, keep following your intuition. Yeah, thank you. I did, and I always did that. This is part of my protection, I believe. And beings were just always protecting me. I came across so many, also in my Dutch life, many confrontations which could have gone worse. Did not happen. Self-harm layers did not happen. I did not harm myself in a way that I would be hospitalized or even less, or would have to make a visit to a physician. Or no, I'm protected. I'm very blessed, and of course, having met Michael, I think that also influenced a lot. Maybe that makes also that I feel that certain mission, but yeah. For me to be me for connection is important for all of us. Yes. Yeah, I love that. Let us connect. This is why I want to connect in the physical. I hope I can realize it, and I'm very honest and realistic in that. That I need that physical protection. Um, you know, it's all prepared in a way. It's just a phone call or app away, and the security is there. It's all there. But yeah, it's. I do know somehow that I don't dare to do a lecture somewhere without that protection. So, and I then trust on God and in God, and that I am revitalizing these live streams and very open about my heritage as daughter of Queen Elizabeth, and that there are documents about these experiments with me, and my true birth certificates. This is why my name is Elizabeth, because that was also part of why I wanted to do this live stream. That maybe people who follow me for long know already this, but specifically my new subscribers maybe see in an earlier live stream, hey, I see Monique Wallace, hey, I see Ray Wallace, hey, I see Ray Elizabeth. Yeah, I had a lot of names. And they are integrated now, and they were all part of me, so I feel them integrated. Monique was my Dutch life. Also on my birth certificate, official birth certificate, was Monique. I changed it into Tara Wallace. Then Ray of Rachel, and Ray Elizabeth is on my official birth certificate. Yeah, I channeled also some channels in the US, like TMZ, to prove who I say I am. And I even mentioned in that mail, like, what if I am telling the truth? That could be the case. And if it is so, wouldn't that be breaking news? I mean, but somehow, I don't know, it's not, is it my momentum? Not yet, or is it not meant to be? So I have to accept that it's for now not yet happening. Tess says, did you begin a political party? No, I did not yet, because it's complex, because also someone dear to me told me, like, but if you are doing that in the Netherlands, because I know my heritage, wouldn't it be very complex that I would be, as an official Dutch woman, to go do a political party, set up a political party, and I want my true heritage being out there, from the British royalty, or the true royalty, I mean. And not that I want to be royalty, but it's about, yeah, I cannot reveal that for now, but there is something in the connection with God and my mission and God's kingdom. And there is a huge importance in that the original bloodlines, which we all are, we all are crowned, that is what my task is for this life. And I always knew that. And my programmers knew this. And this is why I was so heavily programmed. My dear friend here, and that's really true, she says, I think you're one of the most traumatized people ever on earth. But it's her words. And but I know there are many other MKultras with the same horrific past. So, but she truly says that, and still says that. Yeah. So this is why I decided, maybe not yet, first need to go for, and also I'm extremely, of course, dependent on feeling my intuition, is it the right timing? So, but I will know if it's supposed to be. Deltje said, vlees en grieten. Vlees en grieten. I don't know what it means, Deltje. Maybe I missed something. Yvonne says, California occasion. Red Hot Chili Hot Peppers was a wake-up song. Ah, right. Yeah. California is mentioned in many songs. Yeah. That's definitely. And another thing is, by the way, and for MKultras who are vulnerable, please, if you feel your issue, if your intuition or your spirit guides tells you, or your inner protector or personality say, don't listen, because Connecticut was connected to a certain president. I was also a presidential slave of, and in me was a program which was connected to the self-harm less, like connect, I cut. Connecticut. Very clever done by the programmer. But I did not answer to that when the trigger opened up. I did not do that. But it was connected to a certain school which was attacked. If it's true or not, it's a vulnerable subject because it can be thrown from YouTube and my other channels for that. But it's connected to the name hook, and then you maybe know what I mean. It's a setup. Maybe I already say too much. Deviltje says even Adele. DB says Yvonne Groot. And Deviltje says recent eerie songs, Miles on It by Marshmallow, Kane Brown. All songs come by. Hotel California was also an eye-opener. Yeah, so many songs. I can fill a whole live stream with songs and lyrics which were used in my programming. Viva Voice says, with your musical skills, do you use soothing harmonics, sound healing? Nice question. Yes, lately I do use aromatic sounds, and I have some very, very beautiful channels on YouTube which I play throughout the night, and they last 10 hours and with the frequencies. But I love the harmonic sounds and the pentatonic system and the healing frequencies. But also at times maybe I'm starting to get tired, but I forgot the word chromatic sounds and healing bowls, sorry, healing bowels. That's something else. Well, bowels can also heal, maybe, but they have a lot to digest. But I mean, of course, the bowls, healing bowls, I love that. And the didgeridoo. I found a great guy who does, in the jungle, play his didgeridoo. It's amazing. I forgot his name, but that's what I use. And sometimes classical music. And yeah, I love Schubert at the moment, the impromptus. I played some of them. Sadly enough, a lot of the music, as well in classical music, were also used in my programming. But I love the impromptus of Schubert at the moment. Delvertje says, meet and greet sounds like vlees en grieten. Vlees en grieten is a Dutch word, by the way, for everyone abroad. Oh, meet and greet. It sounds like vlees en grieten. Yeah, vlees en grieten, Dutch literally translate is meat. So meat and grieten. And yeah, grieten, that's a name or something. But yeah, that's really funny, Delvertje, yeah. Finging bowls, yeah, indeed. You too, what are you into? What are you into, all dear people listen to music or healing frequencies? It's very interesting. Because if I feel very negative, then I know I'm below the 100 hertz. So then my thought, you can change your thoughts. So then I play, even on the background, when I'm diamond painting, I listen to audiobooks and then, or to podcast. And then I put on with a bit lower volume, I listen to the frequencies. So that's also a tip. And it does help. It does work. It does work out. Oh man, we're heading for 10 minutes to 11. I'm starting to get tired. And again, I cannot get to the AI subject. about AI. 332 hertz. Yeah, that's all hertzes have a certain capacity to reach a part of the mind and lift up some things. I lately also use frequencies to heal my my eyesight, because my eyesight, I have already bad eyesight. I have -11, -13 or -12, something like that. And now with reading glasses I also started to see less, so it's getting less. It's the old age, I'm afraid. But I should not say that, because innerly I claim every day I'm young. I'm young at heart, I'm young physically, I'm young. I'm young. I'm young and healthy. Delvert said, do you use earthing sheets on your bed? That tip was given by me, by more people. Yeah, and I know about it, and I never get to the act of purchasing it or getting them. But I do know them, yeah. Do you know it, Delvert? Do you have experience with them? Viva Voice says, I love Beethoven, Bach and Handel. Also certain Native American songs. Oh yeah, nice too. Beethoven, Bach and Handel, all beautiful. I love all composers and music of the classical age. Somehow I don't like the modern music and Bartók. I had to play Bartók when I was doing the diploma for my conservatory, the certificate for piano. And then I had to play Willem Pijper, Willem Pijper, by the way, is a Dutch composer. He's supposed to be modern, and I had to play that and Bartók song, or Bartók piano piece, and I never could get into that. I think it was my programming, or it is just for me not music, and maybe yeah, I apologize if I say something which is not nice for everyone, but it's just I have nothing with modern music. I don't like it. It's dissonant, and I don't like dissonant music. Delvertje, I touch trees to do earthing and in summer walk barefoot. Oh, barefoot is very, very good. Yeah. In the house I walk always barefoot, and if it's very cold I have my house shoes, and of course when it's better weather I always am barefoot. I wish I could always walk barefoot, but yeah, I'm afraid I have to postpone the subject AI for next time. I think I will do a whole live stream next week on AI, and of course also what my intuition tells me to. Yeah, are there further any questions? So again, I delay the subject AI because what I can say is that I bumped into more and more the AI, and that I already feel that far too many, in my opinion, children are addicted to things like TikTok and so on. And it's just addictive. And then also the AI, and I noticed that more. An example is that I thought I heard someone outside talking in the phone. And then I realized later on, oh, he was talking to AI like it was a person, and even thanking the AI for the chat GPT and so on. And even thanking AI, thanking the voice. And there was also an image added to it, an animation to it, which looked like a cartoon of an anime, a Japanese anime. And I felt like, gee, that is talking like to a person. How confusing is that? And I am not against AI. I am not against that it helps with medical procedures, or that people who miss limbs or need help with AI. I am not against that at all, that it can help and support humanity, but never as a replacement for telling the truth. I myself bumped into the AI when I was looking something on the internet about, I will do a check with the AI. Like, I knew that was where I live, that a shop was closed already for a couple of months. So I asked the AI on Google, like, I need this one. Can you find me that shop and the opening times for that shop on that certain place with the exact name? And the AI says, yes, the shop is open then, and these are the hours, and you can buy this and this there. And then you could give a review on that AI, and I, anonymous, said, no, it's not true, because they are closed for weeks now. That's an example, but if people get addicted to AI and get hooked to the approval of AI, because AI gives you compliments. Whatever you create, it gives you compliments. And what is the truth? Truth needs to be connected to the heart and to the inner soul, to who we are as being. And I think it's dangerous to get to how far AI has gotten. But at the other hand, I think, okay, now, did you know there is already literally AI psychosis? People got psychotic from AI. And I'm not kidding, it's true. It's scientifically proven, and there are videos about it. Because it's confusing to us as beings, as humans, with the heart, if the feeling is out of things more and more and more, which of course a programmed world love to have us all, becoming robots. And I talked already in live streams about that. One day we'll do a live stream specifically about that video I have, which I conducted and directed and wrote with a friend, about the threat of AI and that everyone would become robots. And I will try to find a way to digitalize it somewhere. So maybe get a video recorder from somewhere. I already have a converter, but I need to borrow now somewhere a video recorder, very VHS recorder. But isn't that bizarre that people talk to AI as if it is a person, even thanking it? I mean, where is the humanity? It's like the same with the shops. I come into, when I come into supermarket or the shops, because I want to avoid it, I don't like it. I like it less and less. And certainly when I'm in a process, then I avoid going into a shop, and sometimes I have to. And that I then also see some items just disappear, which were in my years ago when I was younger, that you just could get them. And now I see every week almost I see a kind of item which you can use daily, or just which you want to walk to the supermarket. It's gone. I think it's very alarming. I am supporting the local shops and the middle class, and just get that back. You know, the whole system, money system, can go away from me, but there should be a new system. And I know in a new world it will happen, a new earth. But that was a bit what I wanted to talk about, the AI. Viva Voice says, this is a great live stream, thank you. Thank you so much. For me to be me for. I just got one, grounding mat, I love it. Oh, that's a good thing. And where can you get it? Is there also a cheaper version of it? I have to go for my dog and cat sitting coming months, which I have, fortunately. From end of April I have again more dog cat sitting walks, and very nice dogs and cats, which I know already. So I'm looking forward to that, and then I can maybe purchase. Where am I in the... Ai, 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 ai. Deltje says, ai, 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 donkey. I don't know what that ai, 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 ai is for any longer. Aya says, klassieke muziek kan mooi zijn en je emoties raken. Vuur Elise bijvoorbeeld. So Anja says in Dutch, classical music can be very beautiful and touch your emotions. Vuur Elise, which is a beautiful piece of Beethoven, of course. And she gives that example. Yeah, and Vuur Elise, by the way, is used in my programming. And if I start with I never can get it right. Even with my, in the past when I had to play it for my teacher, I never could find the right rhythm. And I always doubt, is it or is it da-da-da-dum, and it is so, yeah, now it's actually pretty funny, huh? But it's a piece I will never get right. That, yeah, Vuur Elise, you can guess that it was for the German programming in me, with my German programmer, and of course the name Elise. And Alice in Wonderland programming. Yeah, I connect everything. If I'm totally loose, then I connect everywhere and connect to like a web. Everything is connected for me. That's also non-duality, of course. Delveltje says, it is a tool. It must remain just a tool. Exactly. And a medical help. Like that, I truly feel that. And I'm also not looking forward in seeing people working in factories, doing the factory work, like in China, but everywhere where these factories are. And of course there are places where there is the conditions. I wish we had a total new world and that we could find a way. And then also I think AI is good, because people don't need to do that repetitive work, unless they really love it. But does someone really love working on a factory? I'm very curious. Or maybe in another position, but at a like then you come. I'm very grateful for people who do it. By the way, I honor you for all the workers, the people who do that, do the work. So, yeah. Viva Voice says, yes, any advice or thoughts on AI will be very valuable. Well, I think I already did my say. Yeah, the AI, I feel myself that maybe it's good that it's now going into an excess with AI. Because I see also the robots evolving. But if you look at, for example, the Chinese robots, they are being steered. You see then people hiding the remote control behind the back. So they're not there far with the robotical stuff, but like the US and other places in Europe, they are. And I truly feel that a generation, specifically the people now born or a couple of years old, that they get totally confused with AI and leaning more and more on AI. Maybe we have teachers who are robots with AI. That's my biggest fear, that the robotical evolvement will connect so much with AI that the children are grown up with it, very playful, like that robotical dog which you see now everywhere in the world, like cute running and bit in parks and then had a cute tail. Because I in another future timeline saw this all, and this is why I based the musical on. And the musical isn't Dutch, sadly enough, but and also the love for Michael I had secretly hidden into choosing the typical songs of all kinds of musicals. It's a compilation of all kinds of musicals. I will talk about that very, very soon maybe, but I think I will head to a closure because I'm 2 hours live now I am tired and I want to go on and on and on, but I think I should go for my bed rest. Aya says, AI works not for me. Modern technique. Always have a fight with it. I apologize. I had combined hiccups and sorry, a burp. I'm sorry, so sorry. Het doet niet wat ik ervan verwacht. So Aya says she cannot manage the AI. It never works. And I did make a small video of a picture of me, and then I was then so in a crisis about when will it ever be released, the identity, my true identity, who I say I am, the daughter of Queen Elizabeth. And so I did, I spoke in the words for the AI and said to the AI, create a small video. And then I saw myself and a bit mix with Queen Elizabeth, and I saw myself saying that, and it was creepy and very intruding. I also have to go to closure because the man who worked late is now coming home. He knows I'm live, but I will put put away a bit the camera, so the door. Sorry, I will head for closure, dear people. And now you see also the beautiful, it still remained from the Easter, like these giant branches of the magnolia tree, which I love. I love the magnolia tree. Yvonne says, real people like to work with their hands to make things and grow food, etc. Yes, that's also growing, more and more. These people who love doing that. So, yeah. All right, dear people, I will go to closure. I'm now more than almost exactly 2 hours live, and I hope to see you next time. And for everyone in the Netherlands, I hope soon to go live in Dutch. And yeah, I have to try to find a way at daytime, but I also noticed that there are not a lot of people online then, and I'm just I'm somehow motivated by when there's people in the chat. I love interacting with you, so that is also maybe why. Also this morning, and I know I should not depend on that, but I love interacting. And maybe it is my need for people around me, but I truly enjoy it. And I enjoyed it also this evening. Hope to all see you again next time. And wish you a good remainder of the week. And goodness. And all the best. And yeah. I never know how to say goodbye. Oh, I will wait a bit for the chat to see your greetings. Viva Voice says, daffodils everywhere here, so beautiful. Good night, Elizabeth. Thank you so much, Viva Voice. I seem to remember you come from England. If I'm wrong, tell me. I'm not good in remembering things, but now I go live more frequently, so now I will get into that again. And dear people, please do the thumbs up. Only if you really like, of course, the video and like to support me. The algorithm on YouTube is AI and depends on likes. It is just what it is, and also the comments below. So, and sharing is also much appreciated. Thank you so much, everyone. Deltje says, Yvonne says, people need people. Yeah, that's for me a truth. And the same-minded people, and I love that. Deltje says, thank you, Liz. It was a lot of information and nice chats. You look more confident and at ease as you were a few years ago. Nice to see the progress. Yeah, thank you so much, Deltje. You too for supporting me for so long now. A lot of you have come from the beginning when I was doing the live streams and yeah, with the other channels and so on. So Lily says, welterust en droom wat moois. She says, good night and dream something beautiful. Alice, welterusten. Good night. Welterusten is Dutch for good night. Sleep well. Viva Voice says, I live in Kent but was born in South Africa. All right. Oh, so nice. Oh, South Africa. Oh, where were you born? Oh, no, I should not ask because privacy is also very, 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 of course, very important. All right. Delweltje, sleep well. All right, everyone. Says to Alice, sleep well. For everyone who was just watching, not in the chat, it's okay. I hope maybe next time you love to join in or say hi. I love to get to know you and from where you are, and also comments afterwards, maybe in rewatch. Love to hear your comments and thoughts, maybe suggestions, or maybe a location to go for a lecture in the Netherlands, or maybe in the near future I can come up to the US or England. I would love to go there. So all right, dear people, bye bye everyone, see you in the next live.